Hey guys, I wanted to do something a little bit different today. So we are here in Athol Lauren, in the heart of the old world, and winter has set in, but it hasn't really prevented my Wood Elves from expanding. This is a Wood Elf campaign that I started only a couple of days ago, and to be honest, it's the first time I've played a Medieval 2 campaign in years where I haven't cheated. One thing that happens when I play Medieval 2 campaigns is the tilde key is so easy to press, and it's so easy to add money and get all the crazy cool units that I often find myself gravitating towards that, and I don't like Medieval 2's economy system that much. But Beginning of the End Times is a bit different because it focuses on the military aspect of factions, and that's something that I really like. I want to, when I play a Total War game, go to war, make cool units, make massive armies, and just battle people. So yes, I understand there's of course an empire building and a economy aspect of Total War, and I still appreciate that, but sometimes I just want to kill stuff, and this is a campaign, especially with a Wood Elf campaign, where I feel like I can just go in and get a crazy good economy going and expand, and that's what I've done so far. We're on turn 57 of my campaign. I have 16 regions controlled and a pretty powerful military and quite an expansive empire at this point. So my empire is stretching all the way from Miragliano and Trantio, the Chilean and Estalian cities, to the west, all the way to Karak Hearn in the middle of the Black Mountains. So one thing that's really kind of helped me a ton in this campaign so far are all of these dwarf holds that were very close to Athol Lauren. Karak Ezor was threatening the King's Glade, which I of course didn't want early on. The dwarfs were there, and I went in and just took their Karak from them. Look at how much gold this place is generating, and the reason for that is the mines in this game are absolutely insane, and they will get your economy going like crazy. So the dwarven mines, look at this. 1650 gold for mining, 1375, 275. All of that together gets you a pretty ridiculous economy. So 6,000 gold just for taking this, 6,300 gold for taking Karak Norn. Just absolutely insane economy, and it's allowed me to field some really powerful units. So here in the halls of Anareth, the deep forests of Durthu, and the King's Glade, I can now recruit some pretty powerful troops that you'll recognize if you have seen the Wood Elf army book before. So I've got Wild Riders. The War Dancers are on their level 1 barracks building, so they're nothing too special, but they are quite good. Very fast attack animations. They do flips and stuff, which are pretty fun to watch. And then the Dryads, which are multiple HP units, very good stats, and pretty tanky shock infantry. If we go into the deep forests of Durthu, you can see I can get some Wildwood Rangers. Glade Guard are a really important part of the Wood Elf army compositions. They're making up the bulk of my forces. They actually have no upkeep cost if you keep them garrisoned, so they're really good as garrison troops, and they're available from the level 1 archer building. So they are very useful, and basically with the army compositions that I've been making, you spam archers, which is what you think of when you think of the Wood Elves anyway. A very squishy but hard-hitting and fast-moving skirmish force with light cavalry that hits like a truck, which is the Wild Riders, and the Glade Riders, and then just fill the air with arrows, blot out the sun, and slaughter your opponents from range. And the cool thing about the Wood Elves, and something that translates really well to Medieval 2, is you want to focus on your skirmishing, right? Because the retraining system in Medieval 2 is one in which your troops will not automatically replenish. You can't just plop them in a city and have them replenish no matter how high tier they are. You need to have a army building that allows you to retrain the units, and it costs money to do so. You don't get passive regen on your troops. So you want to make sure that you don't lose men, and the easiest way to do that is by skirmishing down your opponent and spamming archers. So a lot of my army compositions are revolving around that, but I also have in the halls of Anareth a building here called the Tower of Philosophy, which gives me access to Wildwood Rangers. That's the shock infantry, but more than that, some higher tier shock infantry that is more like monstrous infantry. It's the Dryads, the Treekin, and the Tree Men. Treekin are so good. Look at these stats here. 20 attack, 20 defense, 7 HP, and I believe they have 45 men in a unit. Monstrous infantry in a unit, and they're really cool looking. So when you can field these troops as your shock infantry, that becomes very, very useful. You can send them in without too much worry about them dying, and that's allowed me to expand pretty quickly. I haven't really expanded into Bretonia at all. You can see This is my first foray into there because I was expanding east towards the Dwarf Holds, taking Karakern. And let's look at Orion. King Orion, the king in the woods. He is an absolute monster at this point in the campaign. Full command, full dread. Even the Dauntless must be forced to face such a man. You can see he's got a bunch of really cool items on the left-hand side of the screen here. The mod creators have done such an amazing job adding the Warhammer lore aspect to this campaign. It's really quite impressive. Authority is decent, and piety doesn't matter at all. But he has won many great battles. You can see these Glade Riders have been with him since the beginning. Triple gold chevrons, probably killed thousands of men at this point in the campaign. We're only on turn 57, and we've expanded very nicely. You can see my economy going right here. Usually getting about 10,000 to 12,000 gold a turn when I'm not spending a bunch of money on recruiting stuff. It also depends on the season, of course. When it's a fell winter, you get less money going in your economy. But yeah, you can see I've got Prince Erloth down here in Pavona. He'll be expanding towards the Dogs of War relatively soon once I've taken out Talea, all these Talaean rebels. Now let's quickly go into toggle FOW, toggle Fog of War, and look at how the entire campaign is shaping up and my place in it. I believe I do have the largest amount of cities in the game. I don't think any AI faction has reached my point yet, but these are also very small regions. As you can see, I'm not covering that much space on the map. Although, lore-wise, of course, the Wood Elves rarely leave Athel Loren, except when they're on the Wild Hunt. In this case, we have a extended Wild Hunt going, and we'll be extending that Wild Hunt throughout the entire Old World and perhaps beyond. So let's go over here to Nagaroth up top and see how the Dark Elves are doing. Got Nagaron, their capital city, Harganeth and Grond. Haggrafe, it has a full stack of troops in there. The Truchii are definitely taking it to the elves here. Now, it's interesting because I've been occasionally toggling the Fog of War just to see how other empires are doing, because it's very interesting. Like, look at how expansive this entire campaign map is. It is utterly insane. I know you guys might have seen it before, but it's so beautiful. We've got Lustria in the southwest. We've got Khemri, Nehekara, and all of the Tomb King cities. We've got Araby over here, all these rebel cities. We've got more Lizardmen down here in the Southlands. And then we've got Tsar Nagrund and the Chaos Dwarfs all the way here to the east. The Mountains of Morn. We have the Ogres to the east of them. Khorne and the Keep of Skulls up top. Citadel of Change, Tzeentch. And then Chaos Undivided here in Norska. Kislev is doing pretty well. Looks like they've actually got a ton of stacks here. Look at that. They've been holding the border very well against Chaos Undivided so far, but yeah, it's an absolutely insane campaign map. So, looking at the war between the Dark Elves and the High Elves, look at all those stacks here in the Shrine of Cain. If the Dark Elves can actually move onto Ulthuan and start pushing south and east, I think they could probably take out the High Elves. We have Prince Teclis right here. Looks like he's getting ready to siege Torochare. Akar. Some of these pronunciations probably not right. But the Dark Elves did take Arnheim. This starts out as a High Elf city, and then I guess the High Elves took it back. Let's just send a navy forward. But the Dark Elves and High Elves seem to be doing relatively well, kind of locked in a bit of a struggle as they are in the lore. Lustria has been completely taken over by the Lizardmen. The south part of Lustria on this campaign map is actually controlled by Skaven rebels at the start of the campaign. And it looks like the Lizardmen have done a good job taking Shakwa and all of these other cities back from the Skaven. Tomb Kings haven't expanded too far past where they start out. I guess they've taken El Haik, which is one of the important cities to take if you want to get the trade routes going, which is a massive boon to your economy. I'll go over the port building real quick at Maragliano, and you can see that, let's find it real quick. The port, if you take in Norska Stromstad, if you take in Araby El Haik, if you take Karankar in Nagaroth, and Sartozo, which is an island that lies south of Talea, I think over, there it is. If you take all those cities, you get massive trade bonuses that can make your economy just explode and allow you to field just ridiculous units, which I'm kind of already doing anyway. And with the amount of troops I have fielded at this point, I should be able to expand relatively quickly. Next target for Orion and Karak Hearn will probably be the Dogs of War capital of Munzig. And once I wipe out the Dogs of War, should be relatively easy expanding towards Karak 8 Peaks. I want to take Karazakarak really bad. I am at war with the dwarfs, and I don't know how much money that this Karazakarak will give me, but I would bet it has a pretty high level mine in there, and I bet that would give a ton of gold. We've got Ungrim, the Slayer King, right here, chilling, probably heading back towards Karazakarak. I think the Slayer Keep is still alive, but the dwarfs are in shambles at this point. I took all their dwarf holds to the west, and now it looks like they've only got, let's see, Karak Azul, Karazakarak, and Karak Kadrin. So those are, of course, their most famous settlements. They might also have a Norse dwarf. Yeah, they have a couple ones up here. Krakadorden, and some of those others. But yeah, I want to wipe out the dwarfs and then get ready for the Chaos Invasion, which I don't know if there are scripts in this mod for an actual Chaos Invasion. I don't know if Chaos is guaranteed to invade the old world and wipe out Kislev or anything like that. It'll be interesting to find out. I'd have to ask the mod creators. I've never actually played a full campaign on this. The only other time I've done a campaign was with the High Elves, but I cheated like a crazy amount in that campaign. I expanded so fast and just got so many units. I went to Albion and I invaded Nehekara with the High Elves. But this is the first time I'm playing a Beginning of the End Times campaign legit, and it's been a lot of fun so far. I don't have Durthu, which is unfortunate in the Deep Forest of Durthu. It would be really nice if he was one of the Lord characters for the Wood Elves in this campaign, but I have been able to field a ton of tree men, and they have been very nice for me, and I've expanded relatively quickly. 57 turns in, 16 regions, some of the most powerful economy in the game. Certainly with all these dwarf holds, it's helped me out a lot and helped me expand. I'm also currently besieging Knoll, which is the Wissenland capital. They decided to attack Karak Norn, which was not smart. And as soon as they did that, I quickly took Wissenberg and however the hell you say that city name. And then I quickly besieged Nuln. And soon, I think this might be their last settlement, actually. And they did have another army, which might have buggered off somewhere. I'm not sure where they went. But as soon as I take Nuln, that should also be a nice boon to my economy. And then I'll think about expanding eastwards, maybe towards the Empire. I'm not at war with Averland yet, but that will probably happen pretty soon. Two factions that I'm a little bit worried about in this campaign are the Vampires and the Skaven. So let's take a look at the Skaven real quick. They have completely crapped all over Bretonnia. From Black Chasm, they spewed forth, quickly took Castle Bastogne and Jizero, and they have, like, Bretonnia is supposed to have all of this, and pretty much all of it is gone now. Skaven have taken so much of it from them, just pissed in their cereal. And now Coron, Lorraine, Languille, and Lyonnaise are some of the only cities left alive for the Bretonians. In fact, it seems like those are the only ones left. And Moussillon, the vampire counts, spewing forth from that undead city, have done quite a number on the Bretonians as well. So I don't expect Bretonia to last too long. Skaven, I don't think they should be too much trouble. They actually lost their capital city of Skavenblight to rebels, which was a bit embarrassing. See, my merchants have taken over and are trading some warpstone right now, which generates me a lot of gold per turn. But there hasn't been much action over here, so I'll think about expanding there at some point. Astalia seems to be doing relatively well. Don't know if I'll let that stand for too long. But the vampires are also pretty strong. You saw all those stacks they have near Moussillon, expanding into Bretonia territory. And then here in Tempelhof, Castle Drakenhof, they've got some stacks going as well. So for now, I think those are the factions that I'm most worried about. Skaven is a super cool campaign because they start all over the map. They've got guys in Kirkback Mountain. I believe they start with Seepgore as well, near the Night Goblin tribes. And then they have another town up here in Hellpit, Skaven Fortress rather, that's north of Kislev. And then they have their holds here in the Black Chasm. and Skaven Blight. So they're all over the map. That campaign is a super interesting one. But this is my Wood Elf campaign. I hope you guys enjoyed the look at it. It's been going relatively well so far. Plan on continuing it. I don't know. So the reason I don't, generally speaking, do campaigns on YouTube is, well, it's twofold really. The first reason is in terms of live commentaries, I think I can be relatively entertaining for a 15 or 20 minute period. But when you're doing a campaign live, the entire thing is live, and it stretches on for many hours, and I think that it's a difficult thing for me to sit down and be consistently entertaining while I'm thinking about what I'm trying to do as I'm expanding, moving my troops around, and microing on the battlefield. I think live commentaries, while I like working them in occasionally, are not my subscribers' most favorite thing to watch. That's probably not true for everybody, but I would say the reason my channel has done well up to this point is because of my replay commentaries, not because of my live commentaries. I do better when I can think about and analyze things post-game rather than talk about it live. And I think that's true for a lot of people. But that's the first reason. I just don't know if I can be entertaining for many hours at a time in a campaign. And the other reason is I feel like when you start a new campaign, yeah, that first video might be 10,000 views. Hell yeah, that's awesome. Might even be more than that. If I started a Wood Elf campaign, it would probably, the first couple of videos would probably get a lot of views, and then it quickly dwindles off. And I think a big reason for that, and it's not just me, but it'd be for any other content creator, is that it loses its luster, it loses its appeal a couple videos in, because it just gets repetitive after a while. You're just expanding. Interesting stuff happens in campaigns throughout the course of the campaign. I think it could be an interesting thing. At the same time, views always drop off for campaigns, and they usually drop off pretty precipitously. Like, it'll be like 10,000 views first video, 5,000 views second video, 2,000 views third video, and then just keep dropping from there. So that doesn't really motivate me to do a campaign. I haven't completely ruled it out yet for YouTube. I think it could be fun. At the same time, like I said, there are drawbacks to it, so I don't know. This was just a look at it. I'm not committing to doing a High Elf or a Wood Elf campaign for YouTube, but it's something I'm considering, and maybe with the next patch when all the new units get added, it's something I'll consider even further. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this look at the Wood Elf campaign and this massive, expansive, lore-friendly, and amazing campaign map on Call of Warhammer Beginning of the End Times. And I will see you all next time. Have a good one, guys.